Rachel Zegler was given the chance of a lifetime with a $200 million project from Disney, but she definitely blew it because by the end she was being torched by the company.
Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, the board of directors, the many executives over there are really just scrambling right now to just get past this movie and call it quits and just move on to other projects.
In a shocking new development that has sent ripples through the entertainment industry, Rachel Zegler is now alleging that the Walt Disney Company effectively blacklisted her from future Hollywood endeavors following the catastrophic reception of their live-action Snow White remake. According to sources close to the actress, she recently became aware of internal communications suggesting that Disney executives not only shifted blame for the film's collapse onto her public remarks, but also orchestrated covert moves to freeze her out of marquee projects. It also highlights the broader implications and underlines key points that resonate with how this issue impacts stakeholders and the audience alike, demonstrating a disturbing intersection where marketing directives, legal demands, and personal accountability can collide. Hollywood insiders watching the drama unfold offer varied perspectives. Some argue that if Zegler was truly blacklisted, Disney stands to lose as well. The actress remains popular among younger demographics. Her prior success and social media following are significant assets. Blackballing her might inadvertently provoke backlash from fans who see the move as a corporate smear tactic. Others maintain that Disney, with its near-limitless resources and stable of bankable franchises, can withstand negative press if it means preserving its broader image.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah. The Snow White fiasco, from that viewpoint, stands as a painful reminder that even the most iconic properties can flop if they alienate the fan base, and the studio will do everything in its power to ensure the fiasco doesn't poison future remakes or sequels. This highlights the broader implications and underlines key points that resonate with how this issue impacts stakeholders and the audience alike, reminding us that brand management remains paramount, even if it means sacrificing a once-cherished new talent. Meanwhile, social media discourse around Zegler's allegations has been passionate, to say the least. A segment of users voices support, lambasting Disney for throwing a promising actress under the bus to sidestep corporate accountability for a mismanaged remake. They point to previous statements from Disney's own creative heads that championed the bold reimagining of the classic, which presumably aligned with Zegler's comments. Opponents, however, accuse Zegler of playing victim after openly disparaging aspects of a beloved children's film that shaped multiple generations. For them, the question isn't whether Disney blacklisted her, but whether she effectively blacklisted herself with statements they deem disrespectful to the source material.
I didn't get that. I'm like, every single white male is a piece of shit and the woman is the hero and all authority is bad and all business is bad, but government is good as social. And most people don't know what they're watching. She, unfortunately, sort of pulled the curtain back and people knew exactly what was going on.
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah. This also highlights the broader implications and underlines key points that resonate with how this issue impacts stakeholders and the audience alike, demonstrating the perilous tightrope stars walk between creative reinterpretation and fan nostalgia. Amid this turbulence, speculation arises that Zegler might pursue legal avenues if she obtains solid proof of blacklisting, be it email trails, direct testimonies from industry gatekeepers, or other documentation. While winning a blacklist case against an entity as influential as Disney would be a Herculean task, any legal action could expose internal communications that the entertainment giant might prefer to keep confidential. Moreover, the discovery process alone could generate public sympathy for Zegler, especially if it reveals systemic manipulations meant to scapegoat her. On the flip side, Disney might double down, insisting they had every right to distance themselves from a talent they believe actively undermined their brand. This also highlights the broader implications and underlines key points that resonate with how this issue impacts stakeholders and the audience. This latest bombshell marks a dramatic escalation in an ongoing saga of finger-pointing, legal threats, and shattered trust. It also highlights the broader implications and underlines key points that resonate with how this issue impacts stakeholders and the audience alike, reminding everyone that Hollywood relationships can turn adversarial at breakneck speed. especially under the white-hot glare of social media and industry gossip, like showing that high-stakes battles between stars and studios can reshape the career trajectories of all involved, and potentially alter how Hollywood navigates controversies in the future.
One of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Alleging that the full might of a multimedia colossus has been turned against her. This also highlights the broader implications and underlines key points that resonate with how this issue impacts stakeholders and the audience alike, emphasizing that in Hollywood's complex ecosystem, different talents can face vastly different consequences from the same shared controversy. The broader question facing the industry is whether Disney's perceived retribution sets a concerning precedent. Will future performers feel pressured to sanitize their press statements for fear of upsetting powerful studios? Could this incident discourage legitimate creative criticism and stifle the progressive reinterpretation of classic stories? Conversely, might it rein in a wave of modern updates that some argue have gone too far by discarding timeless narrative elements? As film historians point out, Snow White was groundbreaking in its time, boldly introducing the full-length animated feature to a skeptical audience. The 2023 remake's failure to recapture that groundbreaking spirit raises urgent questions about how nostalgia and modern values can coexist within a single property. This also highlights the broader implications and underlines key points that resonate with how this issue impacts stakeholders and the audience alike, spotlighting the fragile equilibrium between brand heritage and the push for contemporary relevance. In the midst of the turmoil, Zegler has garnered a groundswell of support on social media, with hashtags urging Disney to acknowledge its own creative missteps and stop scapegoating an actress who, by many accounts, was merely following the official promotional script. Petitions and Twitter threads abound, accusing Disney of wielding enormous corporate clout to crush dissent. Skeptics counter that Zegler is simply reaping what she sowed, citing her perceived disregard for fans' attachments to the 1937 original. Whether the boycott movement will pick up enough momentum to sway corporate decision-makers is anyone's guess. Still, the standoff underscores a new era in fan-studio relations.
Yes, Toolman.
Yeah, I have a clip of it.
Oh, okay, great.
Her being a retard.
Okay.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
That laugh.
That is
not going to be saved by
You
the
wrote
prince.
it?
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
The tension first surfaced when the live-action Snow White, meant to be a flashy update of the 1937 animated masterpiece, bombed both critically and commercially. Early trailers had already sparked apprehension, with fans complaining about the apparent lack of whimsy and nostalgia in footage that seemed laser-focused on contemporary social messaging. Once the film finally premiered, scores of moviegoers and critics lamented the absence of the lighthearted enchantment that characterized the original.
Yeah. Everyone is serving it's just her going, we need to No, you don't. It's not your job. Your job is to entertain. You are paid to entertain. That's what this is. Also, it's very disturbing.
Zegler's comments during press junkets, where she called the prince creepy and labeled the timeless romance outdated, ignited their own firestorm online. Overnight, she went from being an optimistic voice for fresh interpretations to the de facto scapegoat for an entire film's perceived disrespect of classic Disney tradition. It also highlights the broader implications and underlines key points that resonate with how this issue impacts stakeholders and the audience alike.
She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Our rights are on the line, folks.
The
Our
right to buy
reproductive
Cosby
rights.
sweaters?
Come on.
That's the face
Go
of a
vote blue.
serial killer.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button.
Illustrating how precariously a rising career can hang when a project that once seemed like a guaranteed triumph collapses. In the immediate aftermath of the film's dismal box office take and negative feedback, Disney executives reportedly considered multiple strategies to salvage what was fast becoming an unmitigated PR nightmare. Initially, some higher-ups floated the idea of shifting marketing dollars to push streaming releases, hoping to quietly bury Snow White and pivot to other projects. It also highlights the broader implications and underlines key points that resonate with how this issue impacts stakeholders and the audience alike, pointing to potential imbalances in how studios treat stars, especially in a project that that many believed was doomed by top-down missteps rather than one performer's interview style. Yet the real bombshell only arrived in recent weeks.
Very few people wanted to see this. Even the little kids who like Disney movies, even they don't seem to be turning up in droves for the movie because the movie is really, really bad.
When individuals close to Zegler claimed that Disney's discontent had escalated into an active blacklist.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Say it louder so your other eye can hear you.
So we didn't do that this time.
Yet as shareholder and fan outrage escalated, the narrative turned hostile. High-ranking insiders began pointing to Zegler's interviews and social media posts, suggesting that her dismissive tone regarding the 1937 original masterpiece had alienated core audiences. Publicly, the studio withheld explicit blame, but privately, sources say, certain executives discussed ways to isolate Zegler from upcoming roles at both Disney and its subsidiary brands, and consider whether her star power could salvage Disney's troubled fairy tale reboot. Stay tuned, this tale is unfolding.
Every single white male is a piece of shit, and the woman is the hero, and all authority is bad, and all business is bad, but government is good as social. And most people don't know what they're watching. She, unfortunately, sort of pulled the curtain back and people knew exactly what was going on.
A fascinating piece of information surfaced recently, indicating that significant tension arose because Rachel Zegler chose not to attend Gal Gadot's high-profile celebratory event. This event, designed to honor Gal Gadot, apparently featured questions related to political matters, including international support for certain causes. According to reports, Rachel Zegler found such discussions unacceptable and stayed away despite strong advice to appear.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
That
is
not going to be saved by
You
the
wrote
prince.
it?
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
The studio and management had hoped that both Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot would publicly come together at this event.
Is generally understood to be a very, very white person. And in this case, they decided, nope, no, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't think we're allowed to say that, right? I was referring to the movie as sand beige.
If Disney hoped for a celebratory conversation about updating a legacy property for modern times, what they got is a cautionary tale in how quickly public feuds can dominate a project's narrative. Among the many theories about how the production faltered, one recurring theme is that Rachel Zegler's insistent framing of the film as a moral commentary and Gal Gadot's strong stances on international and political issues became a source of constant friction. Neither appeared willing to downplay these issues for the sake of public unity.
But it's no really knock on her. If you did the autobiography of Malcolm X, would you cast Tom Hanks? If you remade Moana, would you cast a little Irish guy? No, you wouldn't. So that was off the top.
As soon as the stars' ideological differences went public, every subsequent promotional endeavor got dragged into those debates. Audiences now hear more about personal convictions than about the creative merits of the film, driving potential ticket buyers away. In an effort to stifle the damage, senior figures within Disney tried orchestrating meetings and giving Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot advice on how to address the press diplomatically.
It is not racist to suggest that a character who is described in the original as skin white as snow, that is literally how the character is described in the original, that's a character description in the same way that, as you mentioned, in Moana.
The purported lawsuit might be a last-ditch effort by Rachel's team to shift accountability for the film's mounting troubles. Others wonder if perhaps there's a private conversation or text exchange that Rachel believes qualifies as defamation under legal definitions, or if third parties have repeated Gal's supposed comments in a way that crossed a line. As word of this potential lawsuit spread, the studio found itself navigating an unprecedented PR nightmare. They had poured millions into a production that was originally positioned as a surefire blockbuster, a modern retelling of an enduring classic featuring two major names. Now, the film was poised to underperform. Test audiences were panning it, and the leads were rumored to be on the verge of a bitter legal battle. In an attempt to salvage some portion of their investment, executives mulled over options, possibly rushing the film to streaming or launching a carefully managed marketing campaign that steered clear of either star's controversies.
So we'll guarantee no employment for little people while getting rid of this other component that warranted CGI. It was the worst decision they could possibly make.
But controlling the narrative proved difficult. Every interview snippet or social media post seemed to spark new intrigue. Both Rachel and Gal found themselves bombarded with questions that had less to do with the movie's plot or its stunning visuals and more to do with personal discord. Speculation about the lawsuit overshadowed typical behind-the-scenes stories that ordinarily dominate press tours. Observers noted that, ironically, the public was more interested in the real-life drama than in any glimpses of the final cut. Reviewers who caught early screenings were not kind. They described a movie struggling to find its identity, an occasional attempt at whimsical charm, but weighed down by forced references to modern sensibilities. The comedic bits were said to be oddly timed, the emotional beats unconvincing. Even the iconic musical components, something Disney fans normally look forward to, reportedly fell flat because of an inconsistent tone.
They did this before all this beef. The first line in the trailer is Snow White is like, "Can we just be nice?" And the queen, the evil queen, goes, "I don't remember you being so opinionated."
All the while, the overshadowing tension between Snow White and the evil queen made it impossible to suspend disbelief. Those who watched the footage claimed the friction behind the scenes leaked visibly into key performances. Fan forums and social media platforms lit up with heated debates. On one side, some supported Rachel's push to re-examine old Disney classics through a modern lens.